Hi, Karthikeyan. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Hey, if you could hear me, could you just acknowledge it in the chat box? If you could just type in like a hi or hey. You're the first one here. So let's just have like a brief communication about college admissions and then we can start with our webinar. Okay. Hey, Karthikeyan. Thanks for replying. How are you doing? That's my first question to you. How are you? No replies to how are you? I'll give you a second to type in. Meanwhile, since you're letting me know how are you doing, also let me know which grade you're currently studying in, which standard you're studying in, so that I can advise you, better based on your college admissions.
Hey everyone.
Hi,
Okay. Hi, these are some new names that I haven't seen before. Hello, Josh, and hello, Karthikeyan. Not sure if I'm pronouncing your name right, but welcome to the webinar. Let me see. Is there a way that you can make me a host?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Am I a host?
You're
Okay.
already the co-host, Eri.
Oh, I am? Okay. Because I wanted to share the link with someone, but it's not allowing me to share. Oh, wait, actually, hold on.
Meanwhile, guys, in the chat box, if you all could let us know which grade you're studying in, or any particular university that you're planning on getting admitted to, it'll like help us understand your background. Just a brief of that. You can type it in the chat box, or you can unmute and talk to us if that works for you all. Okay, so Karthikeyan is in grade 12th, and what about Joshua and Priyanka? Okay, so Priyanka is also in grade 12. And guys, any particular university or field that you've planned for yourself, since you're already in grade 12, and Joshua is also in class 12. Okay, cool. So guys, do let us know any particular university, any particular field, or let's just say any particular country if you want to get admitted into USA, Canada, UK. Okay, so Joshua wants admission in Canada, and Priyanka has mentioned US and Canada. Okay. And any particular field, guys? Any particular major, if you've decided? Priyanka has written DS. All right. And what about Joshua and Karthikeyan? Engineering in UK. All right. So we have like a mix of people. US, Canada, and UK, all three. Cool. Good to know. Physics, nanotechnology, and AI. Okay, so both nanotechnology, engineering, I think both of these are top big guys. Specifically, AI, is like advancing a lot in today's generation. It's going digital, so of course, there's a lot of scope. And engineering in UK, Karthikeyan, I like that you've narrowed down to engineering, but any further details on what kind of engineering you'd like to pursue? And Yash has joined. Hey Yash, how are you? Meanwhile, guys, we'll be starting in a minute.
So today's webinar is going to be kind of interactive a bit for parts of it, but a lot of it will just be me going over the Common App. So how many of you have heard of the Common App? Yes, no? Has anyone heard of the Common App before, or the Common application? You have an account? Great, Priyanka, that's good. No, okay. So for those who intend, does anyone want to study in the States? Yeah, so Priyanka said yes. So even if you don't want to study in the States, I would say that this would be a helpful, webinar still, because if you want to apply to Canada, for example, specifically Ontario universities like University of Toronto, you would still have a portal that's very similar to the Common App. It's called the OUAC. So that is the centralized platform that you would use to apply to all Ontario schools in Canada. So the OUAC is fairly similar to the Common App in terms of what questions are asked. And today, for the purpose of today, we're going to be talking about the Common App. So I'll show you the different sections of the Common App. I'll also discuss with you how to fill out all of the sections. So there's the profile section, family, education, testing, activities, writing, courses, and grades. I'll show you how to add schools to the Common App. I'll also show you, so with the activities as well as with the honors and awards, there's a preferred format for how to structure each when you write each into the portal. So I'll show you an example of how to do that as well. A few examples actually. And then of course, if there's time at the end, and usually there is, I always make time for questions and answers. So throughout the session, I always do look at the chat box. So if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. And occasionally I'll look at the chat. So now, Ume, feel free to start the introduction.
Yeah, absolutely. So welcome everyone to this webinar. And today we have Arian with us. Arian is an admission consultant and video producer for LEAP. And she has obtained her master's degree in international education policy from the Harvard Graduate School of Education, one of the top colleges in the world, and has also took courses at the Harvard Law School, Harvard Business School, John F. Kennedy School of Government, and Harvard Divinity School. While at Harvard, she served as the project lead for developing an open e-learning course on diversity, equity, and inclusion for the UNESCO Chair in Open Technologies for Open Educational Resources and Open Learning. Arian is very committed to advancing education reform, especially in the ASEAN region. She was the first woman to serve as an Education USA ambassador for the US Embassy in Manila. And since graduating with honors from Georgetown University in 2014, Arian has publicly spoken about cultural diplomacy, diversity and inclusion, and international higher education at various venues such as Harvard University, Georgetown University, Office of the Higher Education Commission of Thailand, Fulbright Thailand, and the British Council. If there's anyone who can help you achieve your dream school, it's her. With that, I welcome you, Arian, and hope you all have a lovely session with us. Arian, you're muted.
Yeah. Sorry. Thanks, Ume, for the warm introduction. And I see Priyanka, I think you already have a Common App account, so you could feel free to stay, or I do understand if you have to leave as well. But for today, we're going to go over the Common App, and I think I'll also go over some teacher recommendation resources. So even if you do have a Common App account, this is probably something, Priyanka, for example, if you're still on the call, you definitely don't have access to what the teachers will see. So I will also be showing that as well. I think she did leave the call. It's okay. So we'll start with the different Common App sections. And then again, I'll end with what the teacher recommendation resources are. So first off, let me just open this. Okay. So for the profile, and I just did a mock account. I just created this account, and I didn't want to use my real name because I don't want them to think that I'm actually applying to college. So I just put my nickname, and then I put my middle name. So for the profile section is just basic information, right? Yash, this is only for the US for Common App. However, as mentioned, I don't know if you were here actually before the session, but for Canada, you have something called the OUAC. I'll type that in the chat. So Canada, if you're applying to Ontario schools, you have something called the OUAC, which is very similar to Common App and has very similar questions. So even if you want to apply to Canada, or even if you want to apply to the UK, this session would be helpful for you. For the UK, there's something called the UCAS. Yeah. So regardless of whether you're applying to the US, UK, or Canada, I feel that this webinar would be helpful because each portal that you would use, whether it's the Common App or the OUAC or the UCAS, will ask similar questions and will have similar sections. So going on with this, you would put your basic information here. It asks for if you have a different first name that you go by, but I want to note that the first name and the last name that you input into the Common App should match whatever is on your ID. So it should match whatever is on your passport or whatever identification that you use, whether it's a driver's license, etc. Gender, date of birth. So if you continue to address, this is where you would put your address. And this should be your mailing address. Contact details. So your contact details are your phone number, alternate phone number. So it is required whenever it has an asterisk like this, and this also applies for the UK and for Canada. This means that these are required fields. So you have your preferred phone number, oftentimes that's your mobile number. Alternate phone. Nowadays in 2022, it's very rare for houses to have landlines, otherwise known as like home phones. But if you do have any other mobile number that you could put, it is advised that you put that. Actually, it's required that you put one. Demographics refers to, so some other personal questions as well. So this refers to like what group you belong to. So for example, you would put whether you're female or male. This is whether you served in the US military. Most likely, I'm assuming none of you have, so you would put none here. So in the States, as well as in Canada, and in the UK, I'm not sure if these questions are asked, but I know that Canada, the States do ask these questions. This is pertaining to race, so race and ethnicity. If you identify as Hispanic or Latina, you would put yes or no. And then this is also very broad and very general. So if you're Indian, you would put Asian. So India falls under Asia here. If you're Arab, you would put white. So me personally, I don't believe that Arabs should be categorized under white, but according to the US Census, the US government, they would be classified or categorized as white. And then you would just press yes. So yes, you've completed this section. Next is the languages section. So this is an interesting section that all portals, whether it's the US, UK, or Canada, will have. Typically, they have this language section. So number of languages that you're proficient in. Now, a lot of students ask, can I add languages that I'm learning in school? Absolutely, yes, you can. So for example, I know 6 languages. I would put Spanish as one of them. And then you would have to write if that's your first language, and then if you have the competency to speak, read, write, or if it's spoken at home. And you can click as many or as little as you want, but it is required that you click something here. So for me personally, I can speak, read, and write it, and it's kind of spoken at home as well, since my mother is Spanish. And then select language, you would move on to another language. I don't think you could put more than 5, so you could only put up to 5 languages. Let's say I want to put Arabic. So this is something that I could also speak, read, and write. Again, you could put up to 5. And then if you want to save everything, always make sure that you press continue. Don't just, so this is a common mistake that students make. They just press the next section. But if you want to save it, always click this blue button, continue. Let's say you didn't fill in some details. So for example, with the languages, I reported that I could speak or that I know 5 languages. And I didn't fill in the 5 yet. So that's perfectly fine. You could always fill in the other sections later. But again, if you want to save your work, you have to press continue. And this goes with the Canada portal as well as the UK, the UCAS portal as well. Birth country, so you would put this section is all about geography and nationality. So you put where you were born. So I was born in the States. City of birth was Fresno, California. But let's say, okay, I need a participant here. So in the chat, can someone tell me where you were born? Anyone in the chat? Who wants to tell me where you were born? You were born in a village. Okay. Which country? India. Okay. So let's look at India together. What was the city that you were born in? Yash. Okay. So we would put that city, and then number of years that you've, so number of years that you've lived in the United States. If you did not live in the United States, you would put 0. So Yash, I assume, have you lived in the US before? Oh, you have, okay. So how many years did you live in the US? 30 minutes. Okay. So we would put 0 because it's according to years. Oh, it's a layover. Okay. It's witty. Okay. So we would put 0 for the number of years that you've lived in the States. So select your citizenship status. I assume, Yash, you are an international, so you're a citizen of India? Or, okay. So you would put citizen of a non-US country, and then we would list your countries of citizenship. In your case, since you're a citizen of India, we would put India here. Now, if you're a dual citizen, such as myself, you would put US dual citizen if you're a dual citizen of the US and another country. Let's say you're a dual citizen of non-US countries, you could always put the other country here, such as Indonesia, etc. And then here you would just mark if you currently hold a US visa. So that's either yes or no. So this could be any type of visa, whether it's a tourist visa or a student visa, etc. Again, you press continue. Common App fee waiver. So I get this question a lot. Do you qualify for the Common App fee waiver? As international students, you can qualify for the Common App fee waiver, and I highly, highly encourage you to apply for that. I believe in order to apply, you just have to send an email to the Common App. And oftentimes international students are able to acquire that. The reason why I encourage you to apply for a fee waiver is because the applications, just sending them, is so expensive. So if you don't want to pay for your applications, you should absolutely apply for this fee waiver. And this is specifically for the US. So next would be the family section. So let me continue to this section. Oftentimes you have to fill out this section with your parents. So the family section, in this, they will ask you information, just basic information about your parents as well as your siblings. So the profile section was all about you. Now the family section will be about your parents and your siblings. So what's their marital status? This part would be with whom do you make your permanent home? So is it just with one parent, like your mother or your father, both parents, etc.? Do you have any children? Yes or no? I assume no. Parent one, so this could either be your mother or your father. You don't have to do one first or the second. You could do whoever you want first. Yeah, so this is new. They didn't used to have this, but I have limited information about this parent is also an option. And then you would just put information about, are they living or not? What is their prefix? Are they doctor? Are they Miss? Are they Mrs., Mr.? Give basic information. So what's their name? Suffix is if they're a junior, senior, the second. Typically, my students leave this blank. So again, if it does not have an asterisk or a star, a red star next to it, it's not required. As you can see here, this is required because it has that little red star asterisk next to it. You'll do the same exact thing for parent 2. So the same process applies. You would input her name or his name, as well as, yeah, education level, occupation. So oftentimes you would have to put, this is just very vague occupations. But at the same time, it's pretty comprehensive. They have a list of occupations that you can choose from. Let's say their occupation is not there. You would click other, and then you would have to type what their occupation is. Employment status, whether they're employed, self-employed, unemployed, or retired. And then education level. So did they graduate from college? Did they finish some high school? Did they graduate from high school, etc.? This is a very straightforward process. Now, when we get to the activity section, I'm going to make that kind of interactive with you guys, because I will, again, request for a participant to participate. Sibling. So very similar to the parent 1 and parent 2, you have to fill out siblings. So if you have 1 sibling or 2 siblings, they're going to ask information about them. But this is way more, I guess, basic. It's less information from the parents. So you would just put simply their names and their age. Yeah. Now, if each subsection, so for example, family is the section, and then these are considered subsections. Whenever a subsection is completed, you will see this check mark. If you do not see the check mark, you cannot submit your application. So every single subsection needs to have a green check mark like this in order for you to submit the application. Now let's continue to the education section, and I'll try to be fast so that we can go to activities. So for the education section, this is where you would input your high school. Now, a lot of the times, especially if you attend a high school in India, as well as some of the new schools in Dubai, such as the Dwight School. So the Dwight School is a very new school in Dubai that was just established, I think 2 or 3 years ago. Sometimes you would have to input your high school. So what you would do is you would search by high school, or you could search by your city or your country, but oftentimes it's faster if you search by high school. So can I have a participant here? So can you name, yeah, Yash, go ahead. So what's your high school that you go to? My old school. What's your current school what school are you going to graduate from high school? So in grade 12, which school will you graduate from? Anyone? DPS, can you give me the full name, please? Delhi Private School. Okay, so let's see if this is here. And then afterwards, I'm going to look at the Millennium School. So Delhi Private School did not show up. Let me try. So we don't see the high school in the list. That, again, this often happens with Indian schools for some reason. I think it's also, just in general, a lot of the international schools outside of the US don't show up. So what you would do, you would say, I don't see my high school in this list. This is also the same process for Canada and the UK. So if you don't see the high school in the list, you would press that and then continue. And then you would have to input the address of Delhi Private School. So it would be in India. And then school type, is it public or private school? Oh, these are the choices, I suppose. I don't get to choose private. Okay. Oh, it's a UAE school. So Delhi private schools in the UAE? Yash? Yes. Okay. So that's weird that it's not. Okay, let me try looking again. And then I'm going to look at Millennium School. So Let's maybe look for, Yash, is it in Dubai? Sharjah. Okay. So let me type in Sharjah, and then you could filter it out this way as well. Okay, so Delhi Public School does not show up. When you filter these out, it should come up alphabetically. So I do not see Delhi Public School. So what you would have to do is say, I can't find my high school, and then you would have to input their address. So now let me look for Kartikan, you mentioned the Millennium School. Can you clarify which country that's in or which city that's in?
It's in UAE.
UAE? Okay.
Yeah.
Is it in which city though? Is it in Dubai? Is it in Sharjah,
Dubai.
Abu Dhabi? Dubai?
Dubai.
Okay. Okay. Well, let's see first of all if it shows up this way. No. Now let's see if it'll show up under city. So it'll either be under M or T. So I don't see any M, Millennium. Let's see the. Nope. Okay. I don't see it. How about, okay, so for both of you, for Millennium School as well as for DPS, what I'm going to do now is look at country. So let's look at the United Arab Emirates and see if it'll show up that way. So first, let's look at Delhi Public School. Yeah, so it's not showing up here alphabetically. So what you would have to do, Yash, is you would have to input your school. And that's perfectly fine. That's not going to hurt your application chances or anything. And then for the Millennium School, let me check. Is it a GEM school by any chance?
Yeah, it
Is
is.
it? Oh, is this New Millennium School?
No, it's not new millennium. It's just the millennium.
Okay. So under the GEM schools, it's not showing up. Yeah. So let's see if it shows up under M. So if it doesn't work, don't be scared. What you would do, and I'm gonna do yours again. I'll help you out with that. Yeah, so Millennium School's not showing up. So let me show you what to do if your school doesn't show up. Delhi Public School. Oops, sorry. High school name. Hold on. Oh, okay. So Delhi Public School is showing up, but only the ones in India, not in the UAE. Let me just clarify though. Yeah. So what you would do is, I don't see my high school in this list, continue. And then you would put their name and make sure that it is, you put capitalizations for the name. And I noticed, Kartikan, yeah, you put it in all caps in the chat. So you don't want to do that when you're actually reporting the school. So you wouldn't use all caps, you would just capitalize the first letters of each. So in the case of the Millennium School, you would not do this. Oops, sorry. You would not do this, right? You would do this, the Millennium School. Okay. So you would input your high school name, you would input the country that it's in. So in both of your cases, the UAE, so United Arab Emirates. here we go. School type. So if it's a private school, a public school, you would put that. That's weird that private is not showing up. So usually you could put independent. And then the address. So what is the address of your school? Oftentimes what you would do is you could either get the address from literally from Google or from the official website of the school. So let me look up, for instance, I'll look up the addresses for both. So the Millennium School, this is in Dubai, you said, right? Yeah. So for the Millennium School in Dubai, the address you would put or copy and paste is this one, Al Baghdad Street behind, well, you don't have to put the behind Lulu supermarket, but Al Qusais, Dubai. Kartikin, is this your address of their school?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Okay, so this is exactly what you would copy and paste. Now let's look at Delhi Public School in Sharjah. Yash, is this the address of Delhi Public School or private school? Is Yash on the call still? I think he's on the call. Yash. It's okay. So that's fine. Let me just try one more time for Delhi private school, especially since it's a popular school. Yeah, so when I type Delhi private school, it's all these public schools that are showing up. Okay. All right. So now that we did that, so let's say you already put the address and such, you would put the date of entry. So what date did you start attending that school? Is it a boarding school? Usually this would be no. So a boarding school, for those who don't know, is a school where you would, that has dormitories where you would sleep, like you stay at the school away from home. Did or will you graduate from the school? So yes, so this should be the school that you'll graduate from. You'll input your graduation date, your approximate graduation date. So usually sometimes for some students, depending on the curriculum, it's June or July. Sometimes it's April. And then did or will you graduate? Sorry, this is, please indicate if any of these options will have affected your progression through or since high school. So whether you're taking a gap year or taking time off or graduating early or graduating late, oftentimes students will put no change in progression. Now, let's say you transferred schools, such as myself, I attended 2 high schools. You would put the other high school that you attended. So same exact process, you would put the high school and then you would search for the high school. And then you would also put the dates that you were at that high school. And then you would have to provide a very brief explanation of why you left that high school. So this should be only 250 words maximum. But again, this doesn't have to be very long. So in my case, I'm going to give a very brief example. Or actually in the chat, is there anyone who transferred high schools at all? Yes, no. Okay. Well, just no. Okay. Okay. So Anthony, did you? Okay. So I'll just go over this briefly. So in my case, I left Gilmore Academy. That was the name of the school I first went to, because of my father's job. We relocated to California. Very simple. So whenever you have to provide an explanation of anything, usually it's just one sentence or two sentences max, very to the point. So I left Gilmore Academy, which is my previous high school, because of my father's job. We relocated to California. Again, we'll continue. Colleges and universities. So if you've taken any coursework at a college or university, this is where you would put it. So for example, if you did a summer program, so Brown summer program is a very popular one that students do. If you happen to do something like that, you would report it here. Grades. So in the grade section, it actually doesn't ask for your transcripts or your grade reports. This is pertaining to like your class as a whole. So how many classmates do you have? So Josh or Kartikin or Anthony, can you tell me, or Rania, can you tell me how many classmates you have? 32. Okay. So you would put 32, 29. So you could put 32 or 29. So just to clarify, the graduating class size is like all of the graduates your year. Class rank reporting, don't do this if you don't know your class rank. So oftentimes, and this is how it is with a lot of schools in Dubai, actually. Josh, are you based in Dubai as well? Or in the UAE in general? Sharjah, okay. So usually in the UAE, they don't do class reports. So just leave this blank. And again, you don't have to fill it out anyway, because there's no asterisk mark. GPA scale, again, disregard this, because unless you're in the American curriculum, you're not going to have a GPA. So don't fill out any of these. The only thing that you would have to fill out is this one, your class size. Okay. Oh, thank you for joining, Mr. Anthony. Okay. So now is current or most recent year courses. This one is very important to fill out. And this will be sent to all colleges and universities that you apply to in the States. I believe the UCAS and Canada have a similar section. So this is why I think this webinar would benefit you regardless of which country you apply to. So here you would report how many courses you're currently taking. So is there a sample, is there a participant that would like to tell me how many courses you're taking currently in school or in grade 12? Josh or Kartikan? If not, it's okay. I can just give a sample. Okay, so let's do 4, for example. And then here you would put whether your school operates in a semester system. So semester is 2. So let's say you have grade reports and then you only get 2 grade reports per academic year. That would be a semester. Trimester is if you get 3 grade reports per academic year. Quarter is if you get 4 grade reports per academic year. Yearly is if you have classes throughout the whole entire year, and oftentimes this is not the case. So what my students usually do is either semester or trimester. It really depends how often you get grade reports. Again, semester means 2, trimester means 3. Course subject. So which course are you taking? And you have this drop-down menu to choose from. So for instance, if you're doing computer science, you would put computer science. Course name, this is where it becomes tricky. Not really tricky, but it's very specific. You would have to put the exact course name that's listed in your grade report or in your transcript. So let's say it's advanced computer science or computer science 1 or elementary computer science. You would have to report it exactly how your grade reports report it. Course 1 level, is it advanced? Is it AP? So Unless you're in the American curriculum, it's not going to be AP because advanced placement refers to the American curriculum. This A-level, disregard unless you're in the British curriculum. So A-level refers to the British curriculum. IB is another curriculum. They don't have the CBSE curriculum here. I don't see it, but a lot of my students are CBSE. So if they don't have that, usually you could do NA, or you could just do regular. And then course 1 schedule, and then course 2. So let me actually fill this out. So I don't want this to be yearly, so I want this to be trimester as an example. Course 1 name, I'm just going to do Computer Science 1. Course 1 schedule, 3rd trimester. So this is which trimester that you're in, or like which trimester, how many trimesters the course is offered. And then again, you do this for every subject that you're taking. So because I put 4 down, you would do it for the 4 subjects. Continue. Honors. So honors refers to awards. And awards refers to any awards that you've received from grade 9 onwards. So either from grade 9, grade 10, grade 11, or grade 12. But of course, since you're only in grade 12, oftentimes you won't really have anything from grade 12 yet. Anything before grade 9 cannot be reported. It has to be from grade 9 onwards. So yes. So for example, and I'm going to show you how to format this now. Let's see actually if I have some samples here. Yeah, here we go. So I have some samples of a student. What you would do is you would put the name of the award. So what type of award you got, maybe you got a silver medal. And then you would put what level it was, and then the main activity, so karate. Or this is a better example. And these could be academic or extracurricular awards. So he got a silver medal in science, and then this is the name of the competition. So you would put the name of the award, comma, name of the competition, National Science Olympiad, comma, and then third is the institution that awarded it. So the National Science Olympiad was held or organized by Raghuvansh Public School. So that's how you would fill out the award section. And this is a great example in terms of the format. So again, the name of the specific award, comma, the name of the event or the specific organization that gave that award. And then this is the organizer, the host of this Olympiad. Okay. Here you would put the grade level that you got the award. So maybe he got it in grade 10. Level of recognition. So because in his particular case, it was a school award, you would just put school. Now, with these, you could put as many levels as applicable. So maybe you got an award that was recognized by your state as well as nationally by the UAE as a whole. So you could click both. In the case of, so the UAE would be national, and then states would refer to Dubai specifically, or maybe Sharjah in your case. And then, as you know, international would be like an international award. I don't know if anyone's in the UK system, but another great award or honor that you can report is the Duke of Edinburgh Award. That's the Duke of Edinburgh International Award. That would count as an international award. Okay. So next, let's go to, and you could report up to 5 awards, by the way. And again, these can only be awards from grade 9 onwards. Next is the community. Okay, so this is not related to charity. This is something that a lot of students and parents get mixed up about. If you can see here, it's definitely not related to charity. So indicate the number of community programs or organizations that have provided you with free assistance in your application process. For this one, put 0. Now is, okay, future plans. So, and it's perfectly fine, by the way, if you don't know your career interest yet. What's nice about the US specifically is that they're very flexible. So in the US, you can even apply undeclared or undecided to universities. You don't have to commit to your major until the end of your second year of college. The UK and Canada are very different. So for both the UK and Canada, you have to know what you're going to major in. And oftentimes they don't really provide the flexibility to change or to switch your major. If you do change or switch your major in the UK or Canada, usually that'll put you behind, and you'll most likely face the difficulty of having to graduate late. The US, again, is a lot more flexible though. So the US will allow you to switch majors until the end of your second year. Career interest. So you would put your general career interest. If you're undecided, again, you could put undecided, and this is for your US applications. Other is if you have another dream. And then if you have another dream, you would put what that career interest is. Highest degree that you intend to earn. Again, this is just, you know, what you intend as of now, but this can always change in the end. But typically what I find with most of the students that I work with, and I've worked with several students, they would put master's or MBA if they are interested in business, or MD if they're interested in medicine, or PhD if they want to teach in the future as a professor, for example. And then you would press continue. The testing section is important, especially if you're taking the SAT. Has anyone taken the SAT before? Or has anyone? No, not yet. Okay. So the SAT, I want to tell you, is important if you want to get scholarships in the US. UK and Canada. So the UK, I was doing some research, some UK and some European schools, as well as some Australian schools, will require you to take the SAT if you come from the American curriculum. For the US, a lot of schools are test optional. I would say most schools are test optional since the COVID-19 pandemic. However, a lot of the times, if you want to secure a scholarship, it's better if you take the SAT. I'll talk a little bit about the SAT. So the SAT is out of 1600. A good score would be anything from a 1500 or higher, although, and this is for like schools like Harvard, Princeton, Yale, for the top tier schools, 1500 or higher. But you could still go to these schools even if you have like a 1480 or higher, so long as your grades are strong. I've had students with 1370s who were still able to obtain scholarships to second tier universities such as Purdue University, University of Wisconsin-Madison, University of Michigan, etc. Although I would recommend 1450 or 1400 or higher. But for the top tier schools, you should shoot for 1500 or higher. If you're an international student, you would have to take either the IELTS or the TOEFL. So who here in the chat, who has heard of the IELTS or the TOEFL? Yes, no? Yes, okay, great. So the IELTS and the TOEFL are both English proficiency exams that test students on basic English speaking, reading, writing, and listening. These are not actually, so these tests, both of them are not as difficult as the SAT. So because they only test on basic English, reading, writing, speaking, and listening. However, you should still dedicate some time to study for them. Usually my students study for them, like it can range from 2 hours maximum to a few weeks or a few months. So it really depends on how comfortable they are with the English language. I myself never took the test since I'm a dual citizen. So if you're a US citizen, or if you're a UK citizen, or a Canadian citizen, usually you will not need to take the IELTS or the TOEFL or any English proficiency exam. Also, if you attend an American school, so if an American curriculum school, you will also not have to take the IELTS or the TOEFL. Okay. Another note, so the IELTS is out of 9, 0 to 9 in terms of the score. A good score would be a 7.5 or above. In order to even get your study visa to Canada or the UK, you're required to take the IELTS as part of the visa process. You need to have at least a 6.5 in order to even obtain the visa. But again, a good score would be 7.5 or above, but you need to have at least a 6.5 for the visa. Now, each individual UK university has their specific IELTS requirements. So for example, Oxford, I believe some programs require you to have at least a 7 out of 9. Although other programs at Oxford will allow you to have a 6.5. So it really depends on the specific program. For the TOEFL, so the TOEFL is more US based, although the US does accept the IELTS. For the TOEFL, it's out of 120. A good score would be 100 or higher. Now, if you're apply to multiple countries, such as the US, UK, Canada, I would just highly suggest you to take the IELTS, because the IELTS is accepted by all countries regardless. Canada and the UK usually don't accept the TOEFL. The IELTS is preferred because the IELTS is UK based. Okay. So here is where you would report which tests you would like to report. SAT subject tests don't exist anymore. I wanted to make that a point. So the College Board already X'd out, so they removed SAT subject tests as well as the SAT without essay as of last year. So SAT subject test, the reason why it's here is because if you have any old subject tests that you would like to report. Oftentimes students will put SAT. Some students do choose to take the AP tests. If you want to strengthen your chances of admission or of getting a scholarship, I would highly encourage you to consider taking an AP test. So these are subject tests. So for example, they have the AP World History test, they have the AP Calculus, they have AP Physics. Actually, they have 2 AP Calculus tests. They have the AP Calculus AB, and then they have, I believe, BC. So one is more difficult than the other. So if you have, so is promotion within your educational system based upon standardized leaving examinations given at the end of lower and or senior secondary school or a leaving examinations board? Oftentimes international applicants will have to put yes for that. So may I ask in the chat, which curriculum are you guys in? Are you in CBSE or IB or A-level? CBSE? Okay. Joshua, are you also in CBSE? Okay, great. So I assume for CBSE you do have examinations at the end, right? Oh, and Mr. Anthony, so Gerald, is he in CBSE as well, or which curriculum is Gerald in? CBS, okay. So for the CBSE curriculum, what you would do, so the number of exams that you would take, so just to clarify, this says you have already taken. However, this could also pertain to exams that you will take in the future. So for example, you would put how many courses that you're taking. So let's say you're taking 7 courses or 4 courses. And then you would take the date that you would put the date that you're going to take the exam. This has not been refreshed yet. So The Common App will officially refresh and will officially open for August 2023 admission this coming August 2022. So it'll open in approximately 1 month, a little less than a month from now. So this is where you would put when your exam date is and then your examination board. Other, and then you would put which board it is. So you would put CBSE, and then your academic subject, and then the score. If you don't know your score yet, you would put NA. Or if you do know your score, like let's say you know your predicted scores, you would put what you believe your score would be. So like, let's say it's like a 94%, and then predicted. So this is where you would put your predicted scores, although your predicted scores are also sent by your school counselor. And you would do that for every single subject that you will take a test in. Okay. So now's the most interesting part. So this is the activities section, and I want to be able to help each and every one of you with an activity. But before we do that, Ume is going to talk a little bit about LEAP's counseling services, and then we'll get into the activity section. So please don't leave yet. We'll get into this section, which is more interactive, but Ume, go ahead.
All right. Can you share the counseling slides or should I share them? You're on mute, Adrian.
Oh, sorry. Do you mind sharing it?
Yeah, I'll share it.
Okay, cool.
You'll have to stop sharing your screen. Yes. Thanks. Okay, hey guys. Hopefully your webinar has been going well, and I see that you all are interactive and that it's helpful, hopefully. So circling back to our undergraduate counseling program. So at LEAP, we also provide a counseling program specifically for students who want to pursue abroad education. Now, what do we take up in all of these programs? The first thing that we help you with is profile building. So, you know, in our previous webinars, Adrian has talked a lot about why your extracurricular profile is very, very important apart from your academic scores. And we help you build that profile through getting you registered into internships, into volunteering work, if that's something you're interested in, or, you know, into e-learning courses that, you know, can help you build your profile. The second thing we help you with is to find out which colleges are best suited for your career, right? At your age, you must be confused with what exactly you want to pursue and which college will be best suited to pursue that field or that career. Well, do not worry about it because our mentors sit with you and personally make a priority list on which colleges will be best suited for your career. The third thing that we help with is personal statements, editing letter of recommendations, and supplemental essays. So we've recently just had a webinar on supplemental essays and personal statements. For all of you who were not present in those webinars, personal statements are very, very important part of your college applications. It's one of the top priorities that are given during the admission process. So we help you edit out. We also help you brainstorm what to write about the personal statements as well as edit them out. We can also get you helpful letter of recommendations and supplemental essays. We also provide advice on scholarships and help with financial guidance. So we do understand that abroad education can be a little bit on the expensive side. And if scholarship or financial aid is something that you're interested in, we can also help you get those. And last but not the least, we also help provide visa assistance. What that basically means is we understand that the visa procedure for applying to student visa can be a little tedious as a task, but not worry because we'll help you through the entire documentation process as well as prepare you through mock interviews for your original student visa interview. So you do not have to worry about any of the procedures. Having said and having explained about the undergraduate counseling, let me talk a little bit about where our students have been admitted to through our help. So we have students who are studying at Yale, at Wharton, and at Cornell University, all three of them being top colleges in the world, all three of them being top Ivy League colleges. We also have students at New York University, at University of Southern California, UC Berkeley, University of Illinois, UC San Diego, Carnegie Mellon, Duke University, Emory, University of Michigan. Again, all of these universities, the top 35 universities in the world. So with this, you do understand how capable we are of providing quality and of actually getting you to your dream school. Now, moving on to the next slide, of course, you've met Ariane, but Ariane is also on our mentor panel, and she is a graduate from Harvard University and a graduate from Georgetown University. And like I've mentioned previously as well, she's the one person who can guarantee getting you into your dream school. Coming to the last slide of this, we have 4 mentorship programs that I've just discussed. The first one is the Ivy Advising Program, specifically for you students who are planning on getting into Ivy League colleges. This one's for you. We have a Global Advising Program that covers up globally colleges. Sorry for the grammatical errors, guys. And third, we have elite advising program and a profile building program as well. So for those of you who are specifically looking to build your profile building program will be the best suited program for you. These are our 4 mentorship programs. If any of you are willing to register or are interested in getting to know more details about these programs, let us know in the chat box. Type down your names if you're willing to register with us, and our team will be able to help you further with it. And before I end this, Ariane also takes one-on-one demo sessions absolutely free for students. So if you're looking to talk to Ariane personally about your college admissions, she can help you further with it in her demo session. And to book the demo session, you have to just type in your names in the chat box. Having said all of that, thank you so much for listening, guys. And I hand it over to Ariane. Thanks.
Thank you for sharing. Yeah, guys, so I hope you guys didn't leave. Okay, perfect. None of you left. So again, just to reiterate, I offer free one-on-one demo sessions. So each of you are allotted to have one free 1 hour full demo session with me, and it'll be one-on-one. And your parents could also join the call. Usually in that demo session, what I'll do is a few things, actually. I'll go over your academic and extracurricular profile. I'll tell you if you're missing anything, like if, let's say you want to, if you need to strengthen something in particular. Oh, perfect. So Gerald, yeah, I'd love to schedule a demo session with Mr. Anthony and Gerald, your son. So in the demo session, usually I will recommend internships for you. So all of the internships and the online courses that I recommend are: 1, they're free; 2, online; and 3, self-paced. So you could do it from the comfort of your home for free, and it's completely online as well. And with with the online courses as well as the internships, they're also related to what you want to study. So for example, if you want to study computer science, I have a lot of coding internships that I could provide for you. So to have that demo session, please type down your name and contact details so that we can contact you. And after the call, I will go ahead and reach out to you so we can schedule that for next week. So I know, Mr. Anthony, you mentioned that maybe Gerald can have a demo session with me. I would love to have one with you and Gerald. So please let me know, and then we'll get that set up. Okay, so continuing with this session, just a minute. Oh. Okay, so continuing with this session, let me just share my screen again. Activities. So for the activities, you can report up to 10 activities. And a lot of times students don't have 10 activities. So again, what I do, this is where I come in. I'm going to help you strengthen your extracurricular profile by suggesting internships for you and online courses. These are the best and easiest ways to add extracurricular activities to your profile. Activities could also be hobbies. So let's say you like drawing or you like esports. So one of my students, he plays esports. That could potentially count as an activity because esports teaches you about teamwork and how to listen to other people. Now, with the activities, what you'll do, you'll press yes, you have activities that you'd like to report. In order to be a strong candidate, especially for like the Ivy League schools or any of the top schools, you should report at least 7 activities. So you could report up to 10, but at least 7 should be the preference if you want to be a strong candidate. So for the activity type, is it a type of art form? So for example, dance or drawing or painting. Oh wait, dance is its own thing. So art would be like visual arts, like painting or drawing, athletics, career oriented. So let's say if it's an internship, you have internship here, music, robotics, student governments. So if you're on student council, drama, work, other. Here you would put what is the name of the position that you're in. So let's look at an example again with my students. He is, let's look at this. So he's a volunteer for the science exhibition at his school. So again, there's a very specific format that we use for this. And in order to make this interactive, I'm also going to ask the participants here if they want to, so Kartiken or Anthony or Rania, if you want to share an activity that you do, and then we'll do a description together for one of your activities. So let's look at this example first. So what's his position? In his case, he's a volunteer. What's the name of the organization? So science exhibition is not an organization, it's just an event or an exhibition. So what we would do here is we would put volunteer, comma, science exhibition. The organization name in this particular case would be his school, because the science exhibition is organized by his high school. Please describe this activity, what you accomplished and any recognition that you received, etc. So I want to note that the maximum characters is 150 characters. This is not words. So characters include spaces and punctuation marks. So it's a very, very short description, very concise. Now, because it's very concise, we have to kind of word it in a way that it's like a resume or a CV. So we start each little description with an action verb. So served, handled, liaised. Liaised means like communicated. And then we separate each little description with a semicolon. And then for consistency, we end each with a period to make it a point that this is the end. So I'm going to read this full thing to you, and then we'll do an example together. So served as a manager for my class, handled student issues brought to me, such as problems with student projects, liaised between students and teachers. So he served as the liaison or the main primary person of contact between students and teachers. So here, let's copy and paste the description. So I believe this is exactly 150 characters. Let's see. Yeah, so it's 150 characters exact. You cannot even, so I'm trying to type another like character on the chat and it's not allowing me to type because it's already the full 150. And then we would put what grades he participated in it. So I know that my student was a volunteer for the science exhibition in grades 10, 11, and 12. And then timing of the participation. So was it during the school year, during the school break, or all year? So again, you could click as many as you would like, but you have to click one at least. Hours spent per week, weeks spent per year. So the weeks in a year is around 52, I believe. And then weeks in a school year is around 26 to 27. And then if you intend to participate in a similar activity in college, you would put yes. And even if you don't intend to, I would still put yes for this, for your activities. So let's come up with an example together. So Kartiken, did you have a specific activity that you wanted me to help you with? Or Sir Anthony or Rania? Anyone? Let me look at my chat as well. So what is an activity that that you would like to do? And Anthony, I've also noted your details. And I will schedule that after this session. For the contact details, by the way, I'm going to WhatsApp you if that's fine at that number, just to confirm. So anyway, going back to this activity, Rania, are you there? Because I know that you dance, right? Rania? Yes, okay. So what kind of dance do you do? Oh, social work for blind people. Okay, let's do social work for blind people first. Is there a particular organization that, so I assume that this is a volunteer activity, right, Kartikan? So what is the organization name? Is there an organization? If not, that's perfectly fine. BPA. Okay, Rania, we'll do yours right after. BPA, does that, let me look what that stands for. So this is in the UAE, I assume. Blind. I couldn't find it. So what does BPA stand for, Kartikan? Oh, I don't think it has a, okay. I'm just reading an article. Oh, it's the Blind People's Association. Okay. So volunteer. Organization name, we would put Blind People's Association, and then in parentheses, you could put BPA. Now, Kartikan, what are some of the things that you do for as part of the charity for the social work? So I'm reading a bit about it. So you're training, it's all about, BPA is all about training, education, rehabilitation, and support. And you're lending a helping hand to the blind. So can you tell me a bit about like what you do specifically to help the blind? Like, do you play games with them? Do you help them walk to nearby parks or anything? What are some things that you do? So some of the, I'm reading this, sometimes they provide free training for typing and translation. So I'm not seeing anything. Is there anything that you would, okay, yeah. Okay, so I'm just gonna type something and this is just based off of what I'm seeing from an article, but this is just a sample. So provide free services to members of, provide free services and training and support to members of the blind community. So again, we start with an action verb and then we end, or we separate each little description with a semicolon. Next, I'm gonna say, let's say that you, do you help them read or translate things? I'm just gonna say that you help with, you assist with training for typing and translation. So assist with training for typing and translation. Let me see how many characters this is. So let's go to this really quick. Uh-oh. This is 128 characters, so we could still add more. And then what are some skills that you would develop through helping the blind? So let's think of some skills. So develop key skills such as empathy and communication, maybe. Let's see how many characters this is. Okay, 183 characters, and it can only be 150. So now it's 2 over, we have to cut it. So let's say assist with training for typing and translation, develop skills, develop communication skills. So this probably cut out a lot. Okay, it's still over, it's 162. Provide services, training and support to members of the blind community, assist with training and translation, develop communication skills. That's still over, so it's 153. How about if we do to the blind community? 142. I usually like to go as close to 150 as possible. Yeah, so that's 153. This is going to be over. So we'll stick with the 142 version. So this would be what your description would be. Provide services, training, and support to the blind community. Assist with training for typing and translation. Develop communication skills. So as you can see, it's very succinct. We start each with an action verb, and then we separate each little description with a semicolon, and then we end each with a period. So now another example, there's hip hop and choreography. So we would put dancer, or in your case, we could put dancer and choreographer. Organization name, Rania, what's the name of the dance studio that you dance for? Rania? So I'm gonna do, so whatever the dance studio is, we would put it here. And then please describe this activity. So maybe you've performed or you've competed in dance competitions before. So you could say performed at public venues, competed in national dance tournaments. And then, so usually when you've developed certain skills, we would put that at the very end. So developed, or maybe developed key skills such as creativity and like thinking on the spot and thinking fast or thinking on the spot. Because you have to do, improvisation, such as creativity and improvisation. I believe improvisation in dance specifically means like if you have to improvise and think on the spot. So let's see how many characters this is. Again, you have to write 150 characters max. So this is 127, meaning that you could still add more. And I always encourage my students to get as close to 150 as possible. So you performed at public venues, competed in national, in local, regional, and national dance tournaments, and developed key skills such as creativity and improvisation. That's 148 characters right there. So right under 150. And that's what we would put here. Again, you would put the grades that you did it. And similar to the award section, you could only report activities that you've done from grade 9 onwards. Timing of participation, and then hours spent per week, weeks spent per year, and if you intend to participate in the activity again. So in this case, you would put yes. So now is the last section. So the last two sections I'll talk about briefly, and then we have some time for question and answer if you have any questions. And again, Mr. Anthony, I've seen your message, so I will schedule the demo session right after this webinar. So you have the personal essay. The personal essay is your personal statement. It's the very first essay that admissions officers will read by you. So it's really making you're making your first impression to the admissions officers. I'll talk about the essay in the US versus the UK. They're very, very, very different. In the US, your personal statement talks about a moment of personal growth, and you really utilize creative writing in your piece. Can everyone else still hear me? Because I think one of our attendees can't hear me.
Yeah.
Ume, okay. So, so the personal statement, you're talking about a moment of personal growth. So a challenge that you've faced and how you've overcome it, what skills that you've learned, what lessons you've learned, etc. For the UK, it's completely different. You talk about what you want to study and why. So, for example, I want to pursue medicine, and then I'm very fascinated in cardiology, and that's why I want to pursue medicine. I love the intricacies of the heart. So cardiologists, they do the heart, so they focus on the heart. And then you would talk about, this is for your UK essay, you would talk about what specific activities that you've done that relate to medicine, relate to what you want to study. So I'll give you an example. I wish to study medicine. Specifically, I believe that studying pre-med would best prepare me to become a cardiologist, since I'm really, really fascinated with the intricacies of the heart. In high school, throughout high school, I participated in my school's medical society and presented webinars and presentations on different medical topics, such as let's see, like the COVID-19 pandemic, etc. I also volunteered at a hospital, and I also had the opportunity to intern and shadow a doctor. So these are sorts of things that you would talk about in your UK personal statement. In the US, very different. You talk about a moment of personal growth. It's more creative writing. UK is a lot more straightforward and academic focused. Canada, if you want to apply to Canada, it's kind of a mixture of both. So in Canada, they'll ask you, tell me about yourself essay, but that one's only 350 words, 200 to 350 words. And yeah, so they ask you also like what is important to you and why. And then one of the questions, this is for University of British Columbia in Canada, is talk about something that you're most proud of about yourself. So in Canada, the essays are quite short. The US, this essay is 650 words maximum. Yeah, so 650 words maximum. And then the UK, it's 4,000 characters. So again, characters, counts, spaces, and punctuation. So lastly, I want to show you how to add specific colleges. You'll go on college search, and this is specifically for the US, although Canada and the UK have a very similar system. You would search the college name. So does anyone want to recommend a college for me to search in the chat, like Stanford, Harvard, etc.? University of Michigan? Rania, do you have a college in mind that you like in the US? Or Ume? Harvard, okay. So Harvard, perfect. So you would put Harvard and then add, and then that will add that college to your dashboard. And then you'll see their application. Stanford, okay, so Cardigan said Stanford. So let's go back to college search. You would put Stanford plus. Now let's look at what would happen if you click on the university. You would see all of their requirements. So they'll ask basic questions. So again, it's a little bit tedious because they're going to ask very general questions, like basic questions. So entry term, this has not been, what's it called, renewed yet, or like, what's it called, it's not new yet for this coming application cycle. So it'll still say fall 2022. The new applications come out in August, so a little less than a month from now. And then very basic information about family, academics. This is where you would put your questions or your answers, I mean, for the essays that they have. So what's the most significant challenge that society faces today? That's 50 words only. What did you do the past 2 summers? Again, 50 words. They have a couple of short questions here. Name one thing you're looking forward to experiencing at Stanford. Now, when they say one thing, they really mean one thing. So you can't choose multiple things, right? Short essays. Every single college will typically have short essays. Some universities don't have essays. So Northeastern University, one of my students got a scholarship there. They don't require any essays at all. These short essays are a little bit longer, so they're 250 words. The short essays for Harvard are 50 words, or not, sorry, not Harvard, Stanford. Okay. So now we have time, we have a couple of minutes now for me to answer any questions that you have. So if you have any sorts of questions, please feel free to let me know in the chat, or you can unmute yourselves. Any questions at all?
Hey guys, if there are no further questions, we can end the session.
Oh, I see a question in the chat. Okay, Kartikin, how do I book a demo session with you? Oh, perfect. May I have your email address? Your email address. Thanks, guys. Thank you for joining. Kartikin, once I have your email address, I could book that with you. Okay, perfect. So I have your email address. I'm going to go ahead and save that. And I'll schedule the sessions with you as well as with Mr. Anthony right after the call. Thank you, guys.
All right, if there are no further questions, thank you so much for joining in, and hope you all keep taking care of yourselves and have a lovely evening ahead.
Oh, sorry. Cardigan, can you say your email address again? Because I didn't get it.
I
didn't
noted it down.
Oh, you got it?
over
Oh,
there.
I have it too, actually. I just got it. Okay, perfect. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, everyone.